What do you see when you watch the news? When you read the headlines, when you listen to the radio? Crime, drugs, war, hate, violence. But you know what I see? I see kindness, love, hope, and compassion, the very best of humanity. I see people making choices to see others and to connect. It was 4 months into my grandpa being in the hospital. He was on his deathbed, but our family didn't want to face the facts. He was our family's everything, our captain. And on top of it all, every aspect of my life was out of control. Personal, professional, pressure from every single direction. So when I walked into the hospital and heard that my grandpa took a turn for the worst, I needed to be anywhere but there. I ran out and I wandered around the city. To be honest, I can't even remember how I got from one place to the next. Next thing I know, I find myself sitting by a bus stop, staring into space, feeling like my world is crashing down on me. It wasn't about figuring out what was next. It was not even thinking that there was something next to figure out. Then suddenly I see a man in a van. I don't know what his actual job was, but he stopped at each bus stop and hosed it down and cleaned it. Then he approached the one where I was sitting, and as he got out of the van and walked over, he must have called out to me a few times, but I didn't hear anything. I was lost in my own world. Next thing I know, he sits right down next to me, and he said, "Is everything okay?" That was it. Just hearing someone ask me made tears begin to pour from my eyes uncontrollably. I'm sure he was taken aback, and I could see that he wanted for me so much to share with him, but I couldn't. He comforted me as best he could, and I stood up and I was ready to leave. And he said, "Please, please don't leave. Just give me 2 minutes. I have to do something. I really want to speak to you." So I said, "Okay." And I stood to the side from a distance, and as he began to wash down the bus stop, I noticed this older woman carrying groceries as she was about to walk by him. You could tell from the look on her face that she had a rough day, and she was feeling super depleted. And the man said a few words to her. I couldn't actually make out what he was saying to her, but as she walked past him, the expression on her face changed. She was suddenly smiling and walking with a little bit more bounce in her step. And it was in that moment that I realized that this man wasn't simply cleaning bus stops. He was empowering and uplifting people in perhaps ways that he didn't even know. He then walked on over to me, and I must have felt a sense of calm, because all of a sudden, I started opening up to him about all the curveballs life was throwing my way. And he listened intently. And he said to me, "This too shall pass. I know that you don't see it now, but things will get better. You can do this." And he took out a piece of paper and he wrote his name on it, Maximilian, I'll never forget. And he put his number down. He said, "If you ever need a hopeful word or someone to talk to, you just pick up the phone and you give me a call." And then we embraced. And with that long hug, the tension just seemed to melt away. We smiled and both went on our way. My hardships were still there. I mean, they were still the same. But I suddenly felt that I wasn't carrying the burden alone. You know, society may have us believing that the measure of a person's value is determined by their job status, money, or fame. But is that really what determines a person's worth? Or is it the things that they do as they get from point A to point B in their day? The small, barely detectable acts of kindness. After all, kindness isn't something that we schedule. It's not like I say, "Yes, you know, I do kindness on Mondays and Fridays from 10 to 11. If you miss me, schedule an appointment next week." I mean, kindness is a way of life. It's the way in which we see people, the way in which we engage, connect, and how we make people feel. See, but what I didn't tell you is that as I made my way back to the hospital that day, an opportunity to make someone else smile came my way. And because of Maximilian, because of the energy that he gave me, I had the strength to seize that moment. So, if you can't find a Maximilian in your life, go out there and be that for someone else. Because the choices that you make today to engage don't only dictate the life that you lead, they dictate the lives of those who choose to follow you. Thank you.